What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the basement. We have a special guest interview today. Our boy Mikey the Shadow Sutton is here to talk about not only his exclusive comic book that is coming out in a couple of months. We're going to get the inside track on his comic, where it came from, how he thought of it, the artist, the creation, the story, everything. And we're going to get a special MCU scoop from our boy, The Shadow. Mikey, welcome to the show, man. It's good to have you.
It's great to be back. I feel like the Thing visiting Yancey Street again.
What a fantastic analogy, man.
Right? It's how it feels, man. No,
I got to say, you have been, like, you've almost been my muse in... Like, every time you drop a scoop, I'm on there, like, on eBay, just looking. And every time you text me on the side, like, I'm just, like, you have been fantastic in making me a lot of money on the side,
people some money,
getting stuff. So I can't thank you enough, and I cannot wait to send you a whole bunch of basement stuff in return. Dude, it's great to have you, and it's great to call you friends for all these years. Yeah. Salud, brother.
Thank you, buddy. So how's it been, man?
Yeah, it's been honestly pretty crazy, bro. Like, eBaying stuff and, like, being able to sell a lot of the extraneous shit that I have in my collection that I realize I don't need, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, I got a lot of stuff. Obviously, like, to look behind me on any of the basement videos, there's a lot of stuff there, but I like all that stuff. Like, I got so much more shit that I don't fucking need, and the market is ripe for it. Like, it's time to get rid of it now.
What is going on with eBay lately, dude? I'm seeing, like, you know, those variant covers that you and I made fun of like years ago. Like, why would you spend money? People are spending like $5 or $10,000 on that shit. Like, you nuts, man. Like, but you're bored at home. You want to buy something? If you have $20,000 lying around, sure, you know.
Bro, I was singing your praises the other day to some friends of mine. You know, we discussed like the market and everything.
Yeah.
And we were talking about Kate, as it were, and Wave, and her first appearance in that Agents of Atlas book that you told me to get.
Yeah.
And I said, I was
blown
like,
up.
Yo, it's crazy. I got like 10 copies of that book. It's like a fucking $100 book now. I'm like, yo, man, my boy told me to get it. I wasn't sure because it was taking mad long and this and that. I bought like fucking 10 copies. I was like, this ain't going nowhere. And all of a sudden I turned around. I was like, and I'm watching fucking Tim on Lords of the Long Box. And he's like, oh, this is like one of the hottest books on eBay. And I was like, hey, ching.
It's funny because no one knew back then when I had everybody like, you get your copies now. Yeah. And look, I mean, Shang-Chi is heading to Agents of Atlas. So, I mean, you have Jimmy Choo running around everywhere. I mean, come on. You know it's inevitable.
You know what's really funny to me? And this is like when I find the market works so strangely. Yeah. The original cover to Agents of Atlas, that's the more popular cover all of a sudden. That's the expensive one.
Yeah, it is.
Surreal, I don't know if I'm saying that guy's name right.
Mikey Sutton.
Like, his cover was the be-all, end-all.
Oh,
that's
it was.
That shit was like $100 to $400. $100 like raw, $400 graded back then. But now, like, the tides have turned, and you can get that one fairly easily. Like, you know, nobody's really going into a bidding war on that one.
Yeah.
But this shit, like the original cover, people go wild for it.
I know, it's insane. I have like 6 copies I buy at the time. And it was really out of patriotism more than anything else.
Hey, you know, whatever the motivation is, and I mean, that's fantastic for you to.
But I knew that book was going to blow up. I just knew it was going to blow up. When I started talking about Kate for Wave in the Philippines, it exploded like crazy. Like, what? You know.
I remember that, man. We got so many new subscribers.
You recorded a picture yourself holding a sign. We went all the way. It's been a crazy year, man, because when I spoke to her and everything, and you know, I had that comic book plan before I even met her, and before my stroke, I had that comic book plan. Like, you saw that the footage I gave you of Voltus 5.
Yeah.
When that artist messaged me in 2018, I had no idea who he was. He just liked my scoops and everything, and he told me, "Hey, I'm designing Voltus 5. It's going to become a TV show, live action. You want to see some like pre like preemptive art for it? I'm like, sure, go ahead, production art, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool, this is awesome, dude. I had no idea this guy was famous, right? Like this guy, I've been chatting with this guy every night. He's sending me all his production shit. Like, yeah, cool, man, right on, you know. And then he was like, so when do you want to work together? I said, you know what? I'm developing a story. I'll contact you, and so I'm that those pages I showed you, that was originally going to be a Japanese style shoujo comedy comic book. It was supposed to be a high comedy, and I couldn't write worth shit, man. Nothing was happening. It was like I would write a page, and like, no, this sucks. It's not funny, you know, and I couldn't like envision what the character looked like. So I sat on this for a year, and you know he would message me every once in a while. Hey, how's the script going? And again, I had no idea that this guy was like a really big deal. He's the biggest visual designer in the Philippines, right? And I'm like chatting with him like it's like Mr. Joe off the block or something, you know, like no big deal. Then the stroke happened, and I thought I couldn't write anymore. And then you know what happened like a year later with the whole Spider-Man thing. It's
Right.
funny because when I was writing that script, I was like, "Who is gonna buy this? Nobody knows who I am."
Let me interrupt you for a second. If anybody out there in Pete's Basement Land does not know what Mikey's referring to by the whole Spider-Man thing, is that's like when Mikey blew up with like everybody. All of a sudden, he became a household name with the Spider-Man Sony scoop that Spider-Man was going to be a more permanent fixture in the MCU.
Yep, and it's let's go back in time because it all started with you, Pete. It all began with you.
Bro, thank you for being a fan back in the day.
Yeah, you know,
that's what it came down to.
Yeah, I discovered you guys. Was it 07 when you guys? I can't remember.
08.
When you guys came on the air. I was not a scooper then. I wasn't even thinking about that. I just was looking for a show about comic books because I was lost. I didn't know what to buy. Like I go to a comic book store, like what the hell am I gonna get? You know, like the only creators I bought were Gail Simone and Ed Brubaker. Those are the only writers I knew. Watching you guys were just hysterical. And you guys were the only comic book talk show around back then. There's none of the shit that you see now.
Yeah.
You guys were way ahead of your time. You know,
it's the truth. And now all of these people, like, they're doing their thing, and they're all succeeding, and we're like, what's happening here? What happened to us?
We don't have your New York flavor, though. And
thank you.
See, and so when I had the initial Spider-Man scoop, you're the one who got it. Yeah. You're the one who got the Spidey deal, and no one else got it. No one else was reporting on it.
They called us crazy. They called us stupid.
They told us stupid, crazy. Like, what are you talking about? You know. And then Sony was denying it like months later because the email leak came out, and
Foxbell, bro.
And Foxbell was like huge. Yep. All people laughing at it again.
And I love the fact that people are like, oh, when the deal finally came through.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, well, that was like 3 years ago that you said that. Like, do you think $1 billion deals just happen?
Yeah, I know, right?
This is $70 billion, bro. Like, that doesn't happen in a week. People are stupid. Like,
it makes me laugh, you know.
It does. It really does.
And
like they don't want to admit that other people were ahead of the game, and you know we had the faith in you to say like, no, this is gonna happen.
And the thing is, he had no idea who I was back then. I just said,
you were a fan who was telling us stuff like, hey, we're gonna talk about this.
Yeah, say Spider-Man is coming to the MCU, and like, okay, sure. And you went ahead and reported it. And I remember, I'll never forget the night it was confirmed. I texted you in the middle of the night.
Yeah, and I was up because I don't sleep.
And you're still awake. You're like, Pete's a done deal. I'm like, what? You know? But you know what? Here's the funny part.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the funny part, because I didn't post it on Facebook. I didn't have a private group back then. It was just you. You guys are all I had. And so when the Spider-Man, I call it Spider-Gate, happened in 2019, people didn't know who I was. Like they saw on my Facebook, I actually posted on my Facebook that Spider-Man is going to stay in the MCU. I was the only one saying it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like an hour later, you got 1,000 shares. It just went viral. It really went viral.
Everybody was like, "Oh, Spider-Man's done. It was Civil
Yeah,
War,
yeah.
and that's
Oh, everybody.
it."
But you know what's really interesting? The only receipts I had were on Pete's Basement. And some dude, I don't know who this person was, looked me up seriously on Facebook and found you guys and said, guys, this is the person who scooped Spider-Man Sony deal to begin with. And here's the Pete's Basement show where he reported on. Oh, by the way, he also reported Fox and Disney merging and oh yeah, on the Pete's Basement show. And all of a sudden, like I had a track record
Yeah.
that I didn't have before, and then Yahoo.com sees all this and puts me on their front page. Thanks to you guys, because you guys had those receipts. Because otherwise,
Yeah.
I have no proof. I had no proof of ever scooping any of this stuff.
This is why we
Like,
never delete anything.
yeah,
Just in
there
case.
you go. Yeah, Black Panther and Civil War. That was mine. That
Yeah.
was also on Pete's Basement.
Yep.
So I owed all of you guys, and dude,
And
I
that was
hid as a
before
shadow outfit for years.
Yes, and I'm loving that you're the shadow right
Yeah.
now, bro. Like
Yeah.
it's such a throwback to me because
Yeah.
people had no idea who you were,
Oh,
and we
oh.
kept you secret.
Yeah.
Because the shadow knows.
Yeah, I didn't want to have anything in the spotlight, but that Spider-Man thing, I had to say something, and I did not expect that to happen.
You know what's really funny to me is even before you started throwing scoops our way,
Yeah.
you were just a fan, and then you friended
Yeah.
us all on Facebook,
Yeah.
and you were just tagging us in mad shit, like just random pictures, and we're like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, like this guy's like really into it, and he's just tagging us in pictures, and we're having fun with it, like
Yeah.
awesome. And then
Yeah.
like slowly but surely, like we, the interactions
Yeah.
and the friendship built,
Yeah.
and here we are.
Here we are, and it's I just find you guys hilarious, and I really miss your show.
Dude,
I
we're
think,
back. It feels so good to be back,
oh man, it's great
and
seeing you
to
guys
be
back.
talking to you, one of the guys that really made Pete's Basement so infamous, famous,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
just known by more people. To be talking to you on the day that we actually came back as a group to
Yeah.
the round table, because we've been doing the Zoom thing here and there in the midst of the
Yeah.
pandemic, but it's really great to come full circle to have the guys back in the basement, which we just did an episode, and that's up on YouTube. And now to be talking to you, it's absolutely fantastic, man.
Thank you.
I love having you here, man. Thank you.
Man, I think I made my debut on your channel, like talking at me. I think it was on. Who's that?
Yeah, it
Where I
was.
came out as a shadow. Yeah,
It was that was yes when you
that was
announced
my
yourself
debut. That was my
as
real
the Shadow,
debut.
yes.
Like my voice was finally heard. Look, I'm
That
on
was the very
YouTube like
first time.
3 or 4 times a week now. Like,
How does that feel, man? Like
it's cool, man. I mean, getting that kind of support and then seeing all the viewers like, wow, they're tuned in to hear me. like, do you have a scoop? Like yeah. But it's all surreal, Pete. All this is surreal because
I imagine you like at the park, like just throwing birdseed out of a bag,
yeah. But that's like the comic book was probably the most surreal thing was that comic book because that guy just kept contacting me, and when I spoke to Kate and she told me that she liked the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina was one of her favorite shows. And I said, you know what, I'll watch it. So I sat down, watched the first episode, and it hit me. Why am I doing a shoujo romantic comic? I'll do horror. That's how that book became horror. And so I modeled the character after her, and the show inspired me to go horror. Like horror is my natural element, and
right.
I wrote the script in a week. I mean, after a year of trying, I wrote it in a week. And then my artist was, okay, check this out. So
your artist is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I want to ask you before you go into the art,
sure.
do you find as a writer that you said you were struggling so long to write comedy, and once you adapted the horror aspect, that it was done bang in a week?
It was,
Is horror that much easier to write than like trying to be funny? Because you don't got to try to be funny. You got to be scary. Like you just got to write scary.
And tell you, comedy is hard, dude. Kudos to all the comedians out there. It's fucking hard to do. I mean, I can joke in person or in
See that?
chat.
Yeah, that's it. Like, but when you try to write it down,
Oh
it
God,
don't
no!
come out right.
It don't come out right. It's like stilted. It's just not funny. It's
Yeah.
not landing. So it's a natural talent for people I don't have. My imagination is just really dark. I mean, there is some humor in the book, but when it became horror, like okay, this is my natural element. I can do this. Then I saw his art, and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna write this script imagining your work. So I'm gonna write parts in the story because I want you to draw it. You know, and it's cool because he's also a plotter because he's like the John Byrne of my Chris Claremont because I do the storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was writing the script, I sent him the full script, and it opens up with a motorcycle accident, and he goes, let's open up the book with a bang and make that a bus. And I'm like, I said, that's more work for you though. He goes, no, let's go all the way, make it a bus. Okay, so I made a bus accident. I just went nuts.
Mm.
And when I saw the finished page, it's like, oh my god, this guy is fucking amazing. And
Yeah.
when you're working with a talent like that, it makes you like give you your A game. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like
It inspires you
yeah yeah.
more. Like
Oh
it
hell
gives you
yeah.
even more ideas
Oh
to
yeah.
know
Like,
what the artist can do visually. Yeah.
dude, I have 12 issues mapped out already
That's
because
amazing.
of this artist. And I know exactly where I know how the book is going to end. Like the first story, I know exactly how it's going to end. I have the ending in my head already because working with him, seeing his art, and it's like is making me visualize everything. Also, there's weird part, Pete. It's like people think I planned all this out. None of this was planned. The Spider-Man thing,
Mm-hmm.
it's all accident, fate, whatever you want to call it.
Hey, sometimes you
You know,
got to get lucky, bro.
exactly
Sometimes
you
it just
do.
works.
Overdue, right? And
Yeah.
I just remember coming home from rehab from my stroke and trying to walk well again. I was still in the wheelchair, and I was walking in within 2 weeks after getting home, and just randomly going outside in the living room. My mom was watching a soap opera with Kate Valdez on it, and I see her for the first time. I stopped me in my tracks, like, "Who is that?" And I sat down and I was like, "Oh my God, who is this? Who is this girl?" I had to look her up, right? My mom didn't know who she was. I didn't know her name.
Right.
I looked her up. The first thing I did was I posted her picture on my Facebook, and this guy messaged me, and he goes, "You know what? You want to interview her? I can set it up." That person was my artist.
That's
That's how we
great.
met.
Wow.
That's how we met.
That's a small world, man.
Small world, right? And he goes, I know her because I worked on her show. Like, he showed me a picture of him and her on the set. And I'm like, hey, what's your show, by the way? Like, I never even got the background information on this guy. I just thought, hey, okay, he's cool. So I went on YouTube and I looked up the show that he worked on, that she was on. It was Encantadia. And he has the second name in the credits before anybody else.
Hmm.
Like, lead visual designer, Noel Leon
Yeah.
Flores.
So clearly he's somebody
He's
important.
somebody. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my god, this show is a Game of Thrones of the Philippines, right? And I'm working with this guy, and then everything just came together. I modeled the character after her, and then the script came together, and um, just the comic book is coming out next month in August, I mean,
Mhm.
and I'm so stoked. And there's going to be a Peach Basement variant cover.
Thank you. Oh
Just
man,
to
I
get
can't wait
that
to
word
see
out.
that.
Get the word out. We've been waiting for that for a while
I
now.
remember taking the photos
Yeah,
for that, like the reference photos for that,
Yeah.
which was hilarious in and of itself.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And I'm not spoiling nothing, but when that variant cover drops, I'm gonna drop the reference photos just for the hilarity of
Oh
it.
yeah. You should. You should.
Me and Ramon had a blast doing that, and I
Oh
remember
man,
when you told us that.
it's
And
hysterical.
you know to go off on that for a second,
Yeah.
Ramon and I were discussing you on the episode that we just filmed.
Yeah.
And this is up on YouTube right now
Oh, okay,
to coincide
cool.
with this YouTube interview. And we said, like, being comic fans for so long, and you've achieved the thing that I think most comic fans want to do. They either want to write or draw their own series.
Yeah.
And you got to do that. Like
Yeah.
you've reached it. You're actually writing your own comic series. Just how does that really feel? Like to know that this is coming out in the next couple months, and you're gonna be a household name for every comic book reader that finds this indie book.
Yeah,
like that's awesome. That's amazing.
Greatest feeling in the world. You know, I started reading comic books in 1978. It's been a long ride, dude. A long ride. Even back then, when I was 9 years old, 10 years old, I was writing and drawing my own little comic books on my notebook paper, but I never imagined I would write on this level where I'm actually known already. Which is, like I said, when I started doing this, I was like, no one knows who I am. Well, oops, that's changed now, and not only they know the character, they know the actress the character is based on too. So the Philippines is like, hey, when is the book coming out?
Right.
And being interviewed on Philippine national television was one of the most surreal feelings in the world. Like, I'm on the channel. Like the first TV show I watched as a kid was on that channel. So like I'm on there now. You know, like it's bizarre. And I keep thinking about you guys because even though I've been around forever, I consider this cycle in my life began with Pete's Basement.
Thank you, sir.
Because I was out of the comic book world for a long time. After Amazing Heroes got canceled, I used to work for Amazing Heroes. Everybody out there remembers that magazine. They were canceled in '92. That was it with me doing comic book media. That was it. I mean, I went into the music scene, covered the Seattle scene over here. But it was Pete's Basement where I revived that comic book aspect of my career. So really, I owe it all to you guys. I'll never forget you guys helping me put me on the map back then because back tracing my history, it goes back to Pete's Basement.
Thank you, man. Dude, we appreciate it, and we appreciate your friendship through all of these years. It's been thoroughly incredible.
Because when I write the comic book, I hear you and Ramon's voices sometimes. Like, no, that's not cool, man. Write it this way. Like, okay, I'm trying to think of like ways to get more badass, right? I'm thinking, that's not badass enough. I gotta make it more badass. It's like I don't even look at it intellectually anymore. It's like, what's the more badass thing to do here?
Well, I can't wait to see myself in this book, man.
You will. And it just like there's a really sick part, and okay, that's really sick. Yeah, Ramon and Pete will give thumbs up to that scene. I mean, those are the things that you're writing a horror book. You know your audience, right? And so,
dude, I've been a horror guy since like Jump Street when I was a kid. And before Blockbuster came to the neighborhood and everything, we had like little mom and pop video stores. And my parents would take me. I was 4 or 5 years old, and I was a weird kid, right from the start. And I would get either a cartoon or a video game because I had just gotten Nintendo at like the age of 6 or so, 7, whatever. And I would get either a cartoon or a video game, and I would get one of those cheesy ass 80s horror movies. That was a given. Whatever the rental was, there was a horror movie to go with it. I have seen so many B horror flicks and lesser grades over the years, but that's my thing. So when you told me that this was gonna be a horror comic, I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm in like Flynn. This is my genre. I can't wait to see this. And the idea of me being in a horror,
I know,
like
right?
concept book flick, whatever, like. And I mean, you're the man now. You're Mikey Sutton. Like everybody knows you. How long before this becomes a movie? Like, let's be realistic. You need an extra. I want to be in it.
Yeah, I have gotten interest, so I can't go into details, but there has been interest.
Dude, don't spoil nothing now. Like,
but telling you,
the pendulum is swinging. Like I said,
yeah, but it's swinging pretty well. I mean, and to have her be the star of the comic book, and have all her fans like.
And wow, it looks just like her, man. The art is dope.
Dude, like, he is so badass.
And like you guys in Pete's Basement Land, you got to see so far 2 panels worth. Mikey has gloriously and graciously shared with Ramona and myself other panels that I'm not going to show you. I can't show you. But he is like, hey, what do you think of this? And we're just like, yo, it's literally mind-blowing to see this level of dare I say, photorealism in
Yeah.
something that's not Photoshop. It's like it's pencil drawing and like computer colors or whatnot. But like, man, the
Yeah,
artwork is so dope.
it's phenomenal, and to be able to like go through over 20 pages of that art with my writing on it, I'm just like I had to stop and stare, and I'm like, am I imagining this? I'm really seeing this.
Bro, I'm imagining you like kind of rolling up like the original script and just banging yourself in the head, Looney Tunes style, just to see if you wake up and it's all not real, it was a dream, and
I know, and you see all these comic book writers who've been doing this for decades, right? Like, is this how you still feel? Because I can't imagine getting over this feeling. I really can't.
Yeah.
You know, um, but yeah, so it's he okay, yeah. Here's some. I'm gonna break this now on Pete's Basement. He is moving up here. He is relocating here.
Oh, nice,
He's
cool.
planning on relocating here from the Philippines, and we are going to form a comic book company. So
That's wild, man.
yeah, so it's gotten this far now. Like I'm all in, Pete. I'm all in.
Like, exclusive? Like this is the first
Yeah,
we're knowing about?
yeah. No one knows.
Amazing.
Breaking this here. I am forming. I already have a name for the comic book company. But yeah, I am going to put all the stuff I do in freelancing and geekocmag.com, my website, and just investing in this thing, and just to bring out the art of my creativity and that of others, and help out my friends as well, like get you guys some attention, um, and just put out some really quality work. I mean, I'm doing this for the love of it.
Dude, I mean, I would if you'll have me, I would love to write some shit for you. Like
I said, man, I'm here for you
great.
guys.
What an amazing concept.
I mean, I just feel that I'm like, man, I keep forgetting how old I am. I'm 50 something.
Nonsense.
Yeah.
You're like
But
25
in
years
my
old.
heart, I'm the 25. So
Yeah.
I've
I've
heard
heard
Paul. Have you seen Paul Rudd lately? The dude's like probably older than me. He looks like he's 20.
Paul Rudd might just be drinking the blood of the innocent. Like I'm not unconvinced.
He's got some Asian blood injected in his veins, dude. Because what white guy looks like that at his age, man?
For real.
They're crazy.
I've heard it said that a rising tide raises all ships. And
exactly.
That's exactly what you do.
And I love writing horror. I mean, I can't write science fiction because I don't know enough about science, and I can't fake it. It's gonna look stupid. But horror is, I grew up like
people find their niche. That's it. Yeah. They got it.
Dude, I grew up like you, man. I grew up on watching movies like Maniac. Ever made Maniac?
Yeah.
And all those Dario Argento films like Suspiria.
Yeah, absolutely.
My mom and I watched all those movies, man. All of them,
One of my favorites, one of them that scared the shit out of me the most was called Humongous, and you can barely find like a decent copy of it. I love these movies, man. This was my shit back in the 80s. Like I wasn't watching anything mainstream. It was all cheesy ass stuff.
One of my favorite was Humanoids from the Deep. That was
Humanoids from the Deep with the oh god, they were like in like almost diving bell alien suits, and they would have sex with the women on the beach and then like spawn fucking children. Oh man, I watched that.
It was like an extra. It's an extra creature from the Black Lagoon, right?
I mean, that's exactly what it was.
That'll never get made now. It's too politically incorrect.
No, you can't make something like that.
No, man, no way. It's a very 80s thing, man.
It's God, I love the 80s. That was the time when you could get away with crazy stuff. Like nobody cared. It was the 80s. Whatever.
Like, horror has to be crazy. It has to be political. It has to be. Look, horror has to be offensive. I mean,
100%.
It has to bother you in some way. It's like really really heavy music, right? It's gotta offend your parents.
Mm-hmm.
But the only difference is my mom watched them with me, and she loves them.
You know what? Just as a compliment to that, my grandmother would watch them with me.
Oh yeah,
Grandma would watch all of the horror shit with me because Grandma, and for the Pete's Basement fans that know, and like Grandma was the one who got me into comics in the first place because she bought me my first EC comic. My very first comic was A Vault of Horror because Grandma loved horror shit. So she would watch all of them crazy movies with me.
See, when you started off with EC, you're spoiled already, right? I mean, that's the top of of the comic book chain right there. You know, you start up with man those artists they had on there. See, that's the stuff that inspires me is the art they had was an EC, Wally Wood. Was it Frank Frazetta was probably oh my
Frazetta
God.
did several covers. He did one full story,
Yeah.
and I don't remember which one it was, but the girl is falling off the roller coaster, and
Yes.
the
Yes.
dude's like up, and I don't remember what issue it was, but I actually own it because I'm
Oh,
a huge
awesome.
Frazetta fan, so
Yeah.
I had to have it, but I don't
Frazetta's
remember the issue
God,
number.
man. It's just see what a way to
Shock
start.
suspense stories or something.
Probably was Shock Suspense Stories. You
I think it
know.
was, but I'd be hard pressed to. Shock Suspense Stories 13. I'm just throwing that out there right now. I'm not
Did
looking
you
anything
see
up,
that
and maybe I'm right, maybe I'm
original
wrong.
that Shock Suspense Stories Wally Wood cover with with the KKK? I
Yeah,
mean,
I own that one. That's
I mean,
and you know what's funny? Just going back to the eBay thing for a
yeah,
minute.
yeah,
I've seen a lot of these pre-code. They call them pre-code horror
yeah.
(PCH). These books are going up in value. They're going up exponentially,
Oh God,
and it's a lot of the violent covers. Of course, there's the
yeah,
Crime Suspense Stories 22 with the
yeah,
severed head.
yeah,
He's holding the head and shit, and he's got the knife and whatnot. That's a big one.
yeah,
The broken neck cover with the noose and the guy's neck is like literally
yeah,
protruding out the neck bone.
yeah,
That became a big one recently, in like the last 5 years. That
yeah,
the price on that jumped a lot. But what I'm noticing is that KKK cover. Well, and I'm not saying it's KKK because
yeah,
it's actually a white woman who is surrounded by these dudes in
yeah,
hooded red cloaks. But I mean,
yeah.
let's face it,
You know there, yeah,
you get the implication.
yeah,
But that's actually not climbing as much as I thought it would. And I like to get as many of those. I was collecting those violent covers years
yeah.
ago.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And
Yeah,
I was glad to have that because that was a hard one to hunt down
yeah,
then. And
yeah.
now it's kind of almost fallen by the wayside, maybe because of the racial implications. I'm not sure.
I think yeah,
But it's definitely there. And there's also the lynching cover. There's the guy, and it was
yep,
a white person who was hung by a group of people,
yeah,
and the cover is him hanging, and they're all surrounding the body as it's hanging from the tree in the
yeah.
foreground. Like they really push the limits on EC,
Oh my
and
God.
it's almost like I don't side with Frederick Wortham one
Yeah.
bit. But when you look at some of these covers, you're almost like, all right, I mean, I kind of get it, though.
Yeah.
I get where the guy was coming from.
Well, it's funny. I was talking to this on another YouTube show a week or so ago. You see these covers, and you take yourself back in time. We're used to violence on TV now for decades now, like those
Right, it's
horror
like we're
films that we saw as
desensitized
kids.
to it.
But can you imagine in the 50s? You have Leave It to Beaver, and Beaver comes home and brings this lynching cover to his mother. Like how shocking this was back then.
It's
It
true.
must have been like heart attack
Yeah,
shock. I mean, they were not used to this. I mean,
yeah, it's true.
this stuff was really edgy. It's like showing porn to your mom. Like equivalent.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, like some reading some of these old school stories, and I don't like getting graded PCH books. I hate
yeah,
it
yeah.
because I want to be able to read those stories
Oh,
that
of
really
course,
mess
yeah,
with people's heads.
yeah,
Like I even if I got to get a reprint, but whatever, I want to read the book. I want to sit
oh, yeah,
there and page after page. If I got to have white gloves on, I don't care. I want to sit there and read it because
yeah,
I want to know. Like I love those old school horror comics, and
yeah.
I mean I was a fan of Tales from the Crypt. Tales from the Crypt come out in like what 1989. I was
89, yeah.
8 years old.
Yeah.
Like that shit is dope to me. Like I love it.
I remember going to the Emerald City Comic Con in I think it was 015. You and I were texting each other,
Mhm.
and you were asking about pre-code horror books. And back
Yes.
then, no one was buying them, dude. No one was buying them. There were stacks of them there.
Yeah.
I remember I have friends who were buying them for like $15-20 a piece.
You got me. My crime suspense stories.
Yeah.
I want to say that's 20 with
Yeah.
the broken neck cover.
Yeah,
As a
yeah.
matter of fact,
I
you
remember
got me
holding
that
that.
one. You
Yeah.
you sent me a picture of that. I'm like, yo, who's selling that? Like, I'll buy that shit right now.
Oh man, there was so much of that stuff back then. See, like when the Emerald City Comic Con is back in December, I just wonder what the prices are going to be now.
Can you
Because
imagine? Like,
yeah, the pre-code stuff is like it's super hot right now, and
it's ridiculous. I used to
yeah,
buy this stuff on the CGC boards
yeah.
for dimes to the dozen, and now it's
Not
like
even that.
now
We're
it's
talking
crazy.
thousands of dollars now.
Yeah,
I'm like, what? You know?
I bought an issue of I think it's called Crime Doesn't Pay, where the guy's
Yeah.
actually holding this girl's severed head over a manhole cover. I bought this book for about $150 years ago from a friend of
Oh
mine.
my god.
And like this book is almost untouchable now.
Yeah.
It's so expensive, and I'm like, I'm just waiting. I'm just gonna get this shit graded and sell it at some point because, like I said, I've been liquidating a lot of the collection. Like, what do I have? What do I need? What do I not need? What do I want? What do I really want as a comic collector?
Mm-hmm.
And, thanks to you again, I have a lot of books that I've invested in multiple copies of that you've just like, hey, you should get this, you should get this, you should get this. And I'm like, okay. And my ass on eBay, like immediately right afterward. And I pick these up and I wait. And sometimes it takes a month, sometimes it takes a couple of years, but it's paid off. It has paid off. And like I really think like I'm gonna sell a lot of the stuff that I have and go for a big ass grail.
Oh yeah, definitely do
I'm just gonna go and like I'm gonna have something that they're gonna put in my tomb, like behind mad booby traps and stuff. Like that's what I want,
Yeah. Speaking of Crime Does Not Pay, there is a really interesting behind the scenes story about that comic book that you should know.
Really?
So their editor, I can't remember his first name. His last name was Wood. No relation to Bollywood, but his last name was Wood. He killed somebody.
What?
He killed somebody. He killed a woman in his hotel by bludgeoning her head with an iron.
Oh, that'll do it.
He bludgeoned her to death, and he was arrested and put in jail. And here's the ironic part. The day that he got out of jail.
So that they let him out. Okay.
Yeah, they let him out, yeah. He was run over by a car and died the same day that he got out. So proving that, yeah, indeed, crime does not pay.
And he was now my ass would be like, who was driving that car, yo? Like, was that one of the girl's family members? Because that would be me, bro. Like, I'm gonna just run you down.
Yeah.
So, I would do far worse to you, but
he had ties to the mafia. So it was a mob hit, and they were waiting for him to get out. And the day they got out, he was run over and killed.
That's some wild ass shit.
But
man.
His stories are in that comic book that he wrote when he ended up committing a crime himself. So it's.
I mean, maybe he was like planning that all along.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's crazy stuff.
I mean, but that book though, I mean, that title has skyrocketed the past few years. So,
I mean, everything has. The market is absolutely insane.
God.
It's ridiculous.
People overspending on shit, man. Seriously.
Oh my god. The Marvel cards, like what happened to
What
Marvel
is that all about? I mean, seriously.
No idea. No idea. I capitalized on that. A few of my friends did as well. I was like, all right, I got them. I'm gonna get rid of them. Whatever. You want them? Here, take them. I don't care.
Like those 90s Marvel cards that we thought were worthless.
They were worthless up until a year ago, Mikey. All of a sudden.
It's crazy.
Again, this pandemic, man, like people be home and they ain't going to conventions. They ain't spending money. They got money now to spend on this crazy ass shit. I'm like, whatever.
Take the stimulus cash and buy some Spider-Man cards.
You want to know what I just bought? You want to know something silly? So I started watching Swamp Thing, right, on the CW shit. And it was only available on the CW app.
Yeah.
And the CW app is not available on my PlayStation,
yeah.
which is basically my glorified Apple TV in my living room.
Uh-huh.
So I can only watch this on an actual Apple TV. I got to download the CW app. So I got to watch it in my bedroom. And when I'm watching TV, I like to snack, obviously. Do I look like I'm starving? I want to snack. And I said, you know what? If I'm going to be sitting in bed watching TV, eating, I said, let me get like an old school 80s metal TV tray, one of the fold out ones and shit. So I'm shopping around and I said, all right, do I want like a He-Man one? Because I like He-Man. I like G.I. Joe, but I didn't really like the design on it. I like Transformers. Yo, that's mad expensive. I settled on a Mr. T TV tray from the A-Team where Mr. T is just
Oh my
flexing
god.
on
How
it
cool
and
is
it's popping up on screen for all you YouTubers right now. And I am so happy with this purchase. I got it for 40% off. The guy offered it to me for $25. I'm like, sold,
Go for
done.
it. That's awesome.
And it's like mint condition. There's like one dent in it, and it's perfect, bro.
Power of
I love
nostalgia, man. Power of nostalgia. Like you know what it is? I think people are stuck at home and they're bored. They want to order something to get something
That's
in the
it.
mail, right?
That's exactly it. Retail therapy is real, man.
like,
It's real.
I ordered like 80s TV guides, okay? That's how bad it got, you know? Like, so I go there, look at all the shows that were on. Like, hey, remember that
Whatever.
show? You know, whatever, you know? So the guy's name was Bob Wood. Bob Wood was the guy who killed the woman.
Oh wow. Okay.
And, yeah, so he
I'm
was a
gonna look that up. I'm gonna read about that further.
co-creator of Crime Does Not Pay. He's actually the co-creator. The irony of it all. He ends up, getting killed himself and becoming a killer himself.
I'm gonna send this information to like ID Discovery because one of the things I've gotten into in this pandemic is watching these murder shows, these murder documentaries. Yo, they're great, bro. My mom got me into it. I be watching them all the time now, yo.
You can't help. You get sucked into them, right? You're sitting there. Like,
the only ones I don't like is when they like, yo, it's at 5 minutes left in the episode, and they're like, we're still looking for the killer. Like, no, like you gotta find this guy. Like, I'm about to be a bounty hunter and go find this motherfucker myself. You got like, no, you gotta catch the son of a bitch. I hate when they don't get him at the end. Like, I like to see justice.
Where's the resolution, right? You're like,
well, and then I also hate when these motherfuckers are on like death row for 30 years. Like, come on, put them in front of a firing squad and shoot them. There can't be that many appeals. I'll kill them. Give me the switch. I'll pull the friggin' electric. I don't care.
Oh, like those electric chair covers on those one of those horror comics.
Oh man, yo, Shock Suspense Stories #1 had a guy getting electrocuted.
Oh, yeah,
I'm still after that one. I love that cover.
Big bucks, man. Big bucks.
Yeah, man. Never used to be. A couple of years ago, you can get them for couple of $100. Now, forget it. You can't touch them.
I think I know what. I think it's Instagram. People are posting covers on Instagram. Yep. Hey, look what I got. Then all of a sudden, the fear of missing out, the FOMO hits you in the head. Like, hey, I want that too.
That's a really great point, buddy.
Yeah.
Like
Instagram.
I've even seen covers on Instagram like, yo, that's a great looking cover. I kind of want that too. Like, right? I would be guilty of that. Like, you see a cover that maybe you've never even seen before, and you're like, yo, I kind of want that. Like, that's a dope ass cover. Hell yeah.
I'm seeing like Betty and Veronica comics from like the 80s and 90s go up in value, and I'm like, okay, this is Instagram. Somebody posted the cover on Instagram, got thousands of shares or whatever, and like, hey, I want this.
Dude, I only buy Archie's sexual innuendo covers.
Yeah.
Like, anything raw that's like hinted at, that's what I'm gonna buy.
Well, these are just
I've seen on Instagram.
They're just bikini covers. They're just bikini covers, and people are buying them up. Like, what the hell?
People are a little weird, but
it's Instagram. I noticed all of these these covers creating value. It came after Instagram exploded, and I'm on Instagram and I see the covers on there, and I'm like, okay, this is driving up those prices.
Yeah,
because it's not movie spec. These aren't going to be movies or anything.
So it's those like weird sexual innuendo covers.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like there's the famous
the Alf cover where you.
Oh God, yeah, no, with the seal, yeah, I prefer not.
With the seal,
that's just weird. There's the Archie cover where he's carrying Betty. He's like, I had to beat off 3 or 4 guys.
Oh, God, that's hilarious. That's you need that in your collection.
That was one of the first ones I got. I got news for you. One of the other ones, first ones I got, and I want to say it's like maybe Archie 65 or so, and maybe I'm getting that number wrong. But you could search Archie stick shift cover, and Archie, it's a 4-panel cover. Archie's teaching Betty how to drive stick shift, and she's like learning how to stick, and like all of a sudden at the end, she's like, "Oh yeah, Archie, I think I've got it." And he's like jumping out of the car, like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
And like, you know what's happening.
One of the funniest ones I ever saw, which hasn't been discovered yet, but I'm telling you this now so you can go ahead and get yourself a copy before somebody finds this out, because there's this really racy Millie the Model cover from Marvel.
Ooh, okay.
Millie the Model, and there's this blonde in a nightie like sleeping on a bed, and this guy is like filming her. I kid you not. He goes, and then this guy is like, doesn't she look beautiful sleeping like that? And you see her legs exposed and everything, and
that does sound creepy. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Right. It's just,
what number is that?
I think it's hold on, it's on my wall actually.
That's why I love you, brother.
A friend of mine like made a copy of it and blew it up as a poster. So it's Millie the Model 181.
181. I'm gonna write that shit down. Yeah, I'm gonna be on eBay later.
And there's a sleazy guy coming into the room and said, "But this ad is for wake-up pills."
That's weird. Yeah, there's mad golden age covers like that. They
oh man.
I've learned originally there's the headlight covers, obviously, which is you know, that's self-explanatory. Yeah. But there's also there's a whole other genre called the good girl covers.
Oh yeah, like Matt Baker
and there's like, you know, just women being regular kind of sexy but not too much, and like almost like playing the innocent victim kind of. Like, first of all, comic collectors are weird, and being one of them, we can smell our own. I'm telling you right now, like, that's a fucking weird ass thing to call a cover genre, a whole ass genre. That's one, and two. I'm about to be buying them covers because those things are going up in value.
Yeah.
So if anybody out there in Pete's Basement Land wants to get on this, just jump on eBay and search good girl cover, and you will get a plethora of answers to things.
I didn't even know about that. I gotta do that then.
Yeah, you got it. It's the golden age is just amazing maze of craziness when it comes to covers. There's bondage covers, girls like handcuffed to radiators and things. There's a lot of weird shit running around the 1940s and 50s, and you got to get them now. You got to get them before they're popular. I'm not saying you got to get them because you're a creeper or a weirdo. You got to get them before they go up in value, and this way, when they do go up in value, you can sell them off, make some money, and get your money and go buy something that you really want. That's the purpose. And one of the things that I quote one of my favorite YouTube accounts, my guy Gem Mint, who said, "Let the hobby pay for itself." Get these other books that nobody's looking for, so this way when they start looking for them, now you can sell them and go get the thing that you want, and that's it. That's collecting.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I mean, you can also be a weirdo and then justify it by saying, "Yeah, but it's worth money, though."
Hey, you know what? I've been a weirdo all my life. If somebody wants to get the cover because they just like the cover, who am I to judge?
Yeah, exactly, right? Who's a judge, right? So,
Oh, man. Brother, it has been absolutely fantastic.
It's been great, man. It's awesome.
I wish you nothing but the best with this comic. I cannot wait for it to be released. Tell me, do you have like an old school shadow scoop for us before we go?
I do. And if you're a collector, Pete, you're gonna have front row on getting this book before anybody else.
Yes.
Because actually, you'll have to look up the issue. I can't remember the issue where this transpired, but okay. So Moon Knight, as you know, actually that was one of my scoops even.
Yes.
I bumped a long time ago on
From
Peace
way
Basement.
back.
Way
Way
back.
back.
Way back. Um, it was even on your Facebook page even that was on
Yes.
there. Um, so Moon Knight season one. It's there everything for that show's already set, right? But for season two, they're planning some pretty amazing things. And one of the things I am hearing is that Moon Knight is going to face off with John Bernthal, the Punisher.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and so I am dropping that scoop now on Pete's Basement. You might want to look up Pete the first time those two
Get
guys met.
get the Moon Knight versus Punisher first
Yeah,
fucking encounter.
I think
Holy shit.
it might be an Atlantis Attacks crossover. I think.
Oh man, that's one of my that's my
I think it
favorite
was.
like crossover.
Yeah, I think it was Atlantis Attacks. But yes, those two. The first time those two met, you want to get that book. So because when this
Oh
happens, every
man.
collector is going to want to buy it.
Yes. And you actually gave me another one that I'm not even gonna spoil because I'm still buying issues of that. But
Yeah,
yeah, you
yeah.
this is why I love talking to you, man, because you always give me good scoops
Of
on what
course,
issues to
man.
buy on the side.
I'm like your pimp, you know.
You really are. You really are. It's
But yeah,
fantastic.
so
This
you're
is the
here.
modern age nerd pimp. Like you just tell me what
Yeah,
comics to buy, I go
yeah.
buy them.
This won't be on the Geekosity site for a while. You guys got it first. So Moon Knight versus the Punisher.
Damn right. You heard
It's
it
gonna
here
happen.
first, and by
It's
the
gonna
time
happen.
this airs, I will already have gotten several of those
He's
issues.
got
So
copies already.
sorry.
He's got copies. Watch, just
You
watch.
know it.
It'll be like 9.8 or whatever. It'll be like
Damn,
worthless. It's still worthless, right? Because no one knows. So.
damn right, man. That's the time. You got to buy the 9.8s, but nobody knows
Oh,
about
man.
them.
You know, before I go, one thing I'll never forget was being on the Emerald City Comic Con floor, and one of my insiders texted me a list of names. He said, coming soon to the MCU. And he sent me, and I'll never forget this, The Eternals,
Mm-hmm.
Carol Danvers, and Shang-Chi. I, I went all over the con floor buying up their first appearances for dirt cheap. Like I had a near mint Master Kung Fu, the special edition number 15, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
I got it for $8.
Oh
Yeah,
God, so
I
crazy.
got the first Miss Marvel number one and the first appearance of Carol Danvers. I got that for $10 total.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking like really outstanding condition here. And the big one was so the Eternals number one was a big one. I got it for $1. $1. It was a shiny.
That's incredible.
Look where it's going for now. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's incredible. Yo, I've got actually like 5 copies of Eternals 1, and I also bought about 5 to 6 copies of Eternals 3 for
wow.
Cersei. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm just at this point, I'm just waiting
Yeah.
for the movie to drop.
Yeah.
And
There you go.
so, Mikey, man, thank you for being with us tonight. It's been great. Thank you for all of the information that you've fed to Pete's Basement over the years, and the best of luck with the comic. I cannot wait to read it and review it on the show. And obviously, I'm going to do some giveaways once this book comes out because I want stores to be realizing that, yo, this is selling. So we're just going to be picking up mad copies and giving them away to all of the Pete's Basement fans out there who maybe, if your local shop is not getting Mikey Sutton's book, you got to tell them straight up, like, yo, you got it. Like, this is the book. Like, we need this, and you got to order it. So just in case you can't get it, you can get it at Pete's Basement. Brother,
Thank you so much.
thank you, man.
Thank you so much,
You're the
man.
best.
What a wild ride it's been, right?
It has been a wild ride, and we're just gonna stay on this roller coaster. Like, we're just gonna see how it goes.
Will
Right?
do. Thank you, everyone.
Salud, everybody.
All right.
Pete's Basement is copyrighted
2021.
Ripped Productions. All rights reserved, so go fuck yourself.